so I think it's really important for those that are just like ultra pro Tesla to not down other electric vehicles just because it doesn't have the same range, because there are definitely other advantages and strengths that these other automakers have that they can bring to the table that I think other people will really, really like who are looking at an electric car and maybe who don't want a Tesla.
Yeah. And even if they do get the specs where Teslas are, there's something going on under the hood that makes this not a fair fight. That is why I'm almost certainly convinced all of those cars, e-tron, I-Pace, and Taycan, will utterly flop, which is they do not make financial sense for these companies. These companies are converting their highest margin customers, that where they're making tens of 20, 30 grand per car per sale, to now a sale where they actually lose 10 to 20, 30 grand per car. So when Porsche is touting, oh, our sustained speed is going to be better than the Teslas, our charge rate's going to be better than the Tesla. Well, what did Sandy Munro say about all these other competition? They're buying everything off the shelf from third parties. They're not building their own batteries. They're buying third-party batteries. How do you get it to charge as fast as Tesla, the 350 kilowatts or even faster? You have to put an even bigger pack in to make even more of a buffer. You're already losing money on that pack. Now you're adding weight to the car, which is hurting range. There's all these under the hood financial trade-offs that these car companies are making, and the incentives don't work. Even if it starts to take off, the Taycan, what are they going to say? Like, let's expand production of this car we lose money on and then take away all our profitable vehicle sales? Like, this is a catch-22 that is going to hit the boardroom of every single one of these car companies that, so in some ways I'm like, oh, you got the e-tron, that's great. But I'm like, this is cute, but this is going to be a toy and a joke, because even if people want to buy it, Audi's not going to want to build it in mass. And that's why none of these companies are making investments like the Gigafactory to put in the billions of dollars necessary in batteries. If you actually do want to sell hundreds of thousands of electric vehicles a year, you better have a battery factory and a battery supply. And they don't. They're not caring about that because they don't want to sell 100,000 per year.
With
So,
the exception of VW Group,
oh,
they are
Volkswagen.
making
Yes. And actually, that could be a good thing to bring up, because the reason why they are the only exception is because of Dieselgate, and they have so much pressure to do that. But even so, they're putting billions in batteries, but the tech's not as good. The ID3, their car is going to come out with 12 to 14% cobalt content in the battery. The Model 3 is 2.8% and dropping. So you have an order of almost 5 times more and rising amount of cobalt in these batteries. So I think once I start to unpack the financial, the technology things, like, I don't know if you have any comments on that.
I think, so I am overly enthusiastic about what Tesla is doing. They are driving this innovation and change towards sustainable transportation. The one thing that I'm really concerned about that I've mentioned a few times now, and I've mentioned on the Monroe interview, but I'm concerned that Tesla will be so far ahead that they will eliminate competition completely, which has the opposite intended effect that Tesla wants, which is, they're going to need other automakers' help. So it's important to keep in mind that Tesla has been working on this technology for over a decade. So they've got a decade head start on their technology, whereas some of these automotive companies, they're just now beginning the R&D for this stuff. So I think it's important to keep in mind that, yes, Tesla is the best on the market. Yes, they have not been beaten in terms of range, but they've also had more time. From the very beginning, they were an electric vehicle company. So if you look at, maybe I think they started in like 2006, we're now going on close to 15 years that they have been working on this. And so they are now, probably 2, 3, maybe with Maxwell, they're probably on their 3rd generation of batteries. So whereas VW Group, which owns Porsche, Audi, VW, they're in the very beginning stages. They bought third party with LG Chem. I would be shocked if they're not working on something on their own to be able to be competitive, but they're going to be far behind, and they're going to need lots of billions of dollars to become competitive. But I don't think that's going to be anytime in the near future.
Yeah, and to be clear, they're getting good at something they've never been good at. That's what they need to do. I think that's a big misconception. Like, oh, the automakers can have no trouble copying Tesla, where the true skill is a very different skill than what they've actually been good at. And, Tesla pioneered this lithium ion cell approach that didn't exist. It was the lead acid batteries that were electric vehicles. They pioneered the lithium ion cell, and have basically created an entire industry where now electric vehicles are running off these that nobody thought was possible. And so I think, taking a step back, Tesla's really pioneered this new type of battery technology, and that's sort of been the secret sauce. And then Wright's law, which I think is a huge component of all of this, which is basically that every time you double production, it leads to a certain amount of decrease in the actual cost. And so Tesla getting ahead of everything with these batteries and really pushing economies of scale, I think has really been the huge driver of getting these battery costs down to being a reasonable, percentage of the overall vehicle.
Yeah, I think I support that idea and notion. I do just want to underscore the point that in order for Tesla to win with their mission, they're going to need other automakers' help. This is traditional, and this is any new companies that come like Bollinger and like Rivian. They're going to need everyone's help to be able to transition, and this doesn't happen overnight. And I'm not a smart enough guy to know about climate change and how many years we have left before we can't turn back, but it can't happen fast enough.